This conference will now be recorded.
In the last class, we have discussed about HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and the main use of HTML is to develop static web pages. So today we'll be going with the three simple topics. One is CSS. Next we go with the XML and JSON as a basic introduction. So the prerequisite to enter into advanced Java is XML and JSON. So for that reason, we'll discuss that today. Let us initially go with CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. The main use of going for CSS is CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on browser screen. How you want to display HTML elements on browser screen. CSS saves a lot of work. Now, let us understand the need of going for CSS. So let us suppose we are creating one HTML file where the root tag is HTML, where we go with the subtag body. In this, we create 10 paragraphs. Let us suppose we are creating 10 paragraphs here, like I am paragraph 1, I am paragraph 2, like that. Totally 10 paragraphs. I am paragraph 10. By default, the paragraphs will be left aligned. Now the objective is we want to make all 10 paragraphs to be center aligned. So what we do, along with the p element, we use the align attribute and we go with the value center. Like that, for every paragraph, we have to use align attribute and say center here. So you are writing here align equal to center how many times? 10 times. So the code what you are repeating, this we call it as redundant code. Same thing you are repeating. But what is the objective here? Whenever we use p element, how you want to display on browser screen? Center aligned. Then in this type of cases, we make use of CSS. So how to use CSS is, how to go for CSS is, see here what we are doing, we are in totally 10 paragraphs. We want to make all 10 paragraphs to be center aligned. So in HTML, what we do, we say align equal to center, align equal to center 10 times. Instead of this, we can make use of CSS. How to write CSS code is, in head section, we have to use a tag style. We have to use what tag here? Style. And for which element you want to provide style? For p element. What is the HTML element here? P element. Open and close curly braces and right here text align. It's a property. Text align. It's a predefined CSS property colon and the value of it. Whenever we use p element, the alignment of your text will be what here? Center. Then we need not use this align equal to center now 10 times. So in that way, it is reducing burden to the programmers. In that way, it is saving a lot of work to us. So what is the use of CSS? It's mainly to go for styling your web pages. How you want to display HTML elements. See here, we are having p element. How you want to display whenever we use p element, how you want to display? You want to make it center aligned. So we use a CSS style property text align. It's a predefined property, and center, it's a value of it. Right? Let us write the complete code of this. CSS1.html. Open Visual Studio Code, where we are writing our code. Visual Studio Code here. So whenever we want to create a new HTML file, save file, a new text file, save it. I've created a folder CSS. In this, let us save the file CSS1.html. start writing the code. HTML head section. We'll go with the style tag. So we'll write the code in style ladder. Come to body. Here let us create one heading. I am heading. Let us create a paragraph. I am paragraph 1. One more paragraph. I am paragraph 2. Now, whenever we use H3 tag, we want to make it center aligned. And paragraph tag, we want to make it right aligned. So how to do? Come to the style tag. Then take the HTML element name. Then open and close curly braces. Then take the style property, text style. And see the goodness of Visual Studio Code. It's going to provide the style names and the values also. So whenever we use H3 tag, the alignment will be center. And let us go with the color of text as red here. Whenever we use H3 tag, it goes with color red. Similar way, P element, open and close curly braces, text align right, color blue. That's it. Now, open in browser, right click and say open in browser. See, we are getting heading in center aligned and paragraph is in, two paragraphs are coming in right aligned and blue color. Clear everyone? The need of going for CSS?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, let us move to the next concept here. CSS selectors. So we're having the selectors like element selector, ID selector, class selector, and grouping. These are the 4 selectors here. Let us go with one by one. Let us go with element selector. Here in this case, the styles are given to the specific HTML elements only. Like example, we take the HTML element name and we provide the styles. The previous example comes under element selector here. Text align, center, color, red. So the previous example comes under element selector. So we directly take the HTML element and we provide the styles. Coming to the next one, ID selector. ID selector uses the ID attribute of a HTML element to select a specific element. Let me elaborate this with the program. The need of going for ID. Here in the previous example, when we go with element selector, whenever we use paragraph elements, for first paragraph and second paragraph, the alignment is center and blue. So in your code, how many times we use P element, the styles will remain same. Now the objective is, for first paragraph we want to go with center aligned. For second paragraph we want to go with right aligned. So same HTML element, but we want to go with different styles. Then we cannot go for element selector. We cannot use element selector. That's a place where we go with ID selector. CSS id.html. Go with head section. Here, go with style tag. Create the IDs. How to create ID is, we have to use a symbol hash. We have to use a symbol hash and any name to the ID. I'll say ID1, anything XYZ. Open and close curly braces. Here we'll say text align center, color red. Hash ID2, text align right, color blue, then font size some 30 pixel. So we have created totally 2 IDs here. Like that, how many IDs we want to create, you can create. Now coming to body tag, here we use h3 element. I am heading. Paragraph element, I am paragraph 1. One more paragraph, I am paragraph 2. So for this heading 3, we want to apply this ID1 styles. Then what we have to use? We have to use the attribute ID equal to ID1. But first paragraph also we want to go with ID1 styles only. Then say here, use the attribute ID equal to ID1. For second paragraph, ID2. So ID equal to ID2. So just to create the IDs, and for your HTML element, which are the styles you require, just refer to that particular IDs here. So for same HTML element, when we want to go with the different styles, we make use of what? ID selector. Now see, when we open in browser, we are getting, see the result here. Heading and paragraph 1 is coming in center aligned, red color. Paragraph 2 is coming in right aligned, blue color, and 30 pixel size. Any questions, anyone?
No, sir.
No. Next one, class selector. This class selector is similar to ID only, a small difference. The class selector selects elements with a specific class attribute. The difference between ID and class is the class selector restricts that the styles need to be used by the specific HTML element only. So a small restriction to your HTML elements, to the styles here. Let me elaborate using the program CSS class.html. Save it. CSS class.html. Hit section, go with style tag. Here, whenever we want to create a class, we have to use a symbol dot. For ID, hash, for class, dot. Then go with the class name, any name explicit. And here we'll say text align center and background color some yellow. Dot right, text align right, background color some crayon. Go with the body tag. Here let us create h3. I am heading paragraph. I am paragraph 1. I am paragraph 2. For this heading 3, we want to apply the center styles. So just we have to use the attribute class as equal to the value of the class. Similar way, for first paragraph, class equal to center. For second paragraph, class equal to right. So see, when we open in browser, we get the result here. Okay, we are getting the styles. Now, similar to ID only. Then what is the difference between ID and classes? Here we can restrict, we can provide restriction that this center class and right class can be used only by the specific element. Like we can say now p dot center, p dot right. Means this class center and right class can be used only by the p element. H3 cannot use this center class now. These restrictions we can apply when we go with class selector. See now, for heading we are not getting any styles even though you are referring class equal to center, because this class center is used only by the p element, other elements cannot use that. So that's a small difference between class selector and ID selector. Got it, everyone? Any questions? No. CSS is very simple. Grouping selector. So we are having some elements like h3, where we'll say align, center, color, blue. Let us take one more h4, text align, center, color, blue. Paragraph element, text align, center, color, blue. So if you observe, for all these three elements, the styles are same. So when the styles are same, instead of going with the code like this, we can group it like this. After grouping, what to write after grouping? Simply h3 comma h4 comma p element. Just separate the HTML elements by comma and then provide the styles here. Text align, center, color, blue. So a small, instead of going with the multiple times, for when the styles are remaining same for multiple elements, we can group it. Just separate the elements by comma here. Now, let us move to the next one here. Ways of inserting CSS. What are the different ways of inserting CSS? So we are in three ways. They are internal style sheets, inline style sheets, and external style sheets. Internal, inline, and external. Now, let us go with initial internal style sheets. The styles are defined using style tag in head section. We use style tag in between head tag to define the styles. The styles are used only within the same HTML file. So whatever the styles you are defining, that styles are used where only within the same HTML file. All above programs are internal. Up to now, whatever we have done, all are internal. That is, we use style tag within head section, and what are the styles you are writing? These styles are used only within the same HTML file. Outside, these styles are not applicable. Right? Next one, inline style sheets. The styles are defined using style attribute along with the HTML element. The styles are defined what? Using style attribute along with the HTML element. The styles are used only within the same HTML element here. Only within the same HTML element. Let us understand using the program CSS inline. Save the file CSS inline.html. Just go with body tag. Here we go with h3. Here, along with the element, we use the style attribute here like this. h3 style equal to, then provide the style property, text align, center, semicolon, color red, semicolon. This is an heading. Paragraph, along with that element, we use style attribute, align, right, color, paragraph. Now, what are the style attribute we are using along with HTML element? These styles are used only within the same HTML element. Outside, we cannot use those styles. So when we open in browser, so we are getting heading and paragraph with the respective styles. The next one, external style sheets. This is important. The styles are defined in an external CSS file. We create one separate CSS file which we call external CSS file. The styles are used in other HTML files. You can use these styles in any other HTML files. Let us understand with programs. My style.css. Extension what we give for external CSS file is .css. This we call external CSS file. Then we'll say external CSS.html. In external CSS.html, we refer to this mystyle.css. Let us go with the code. File, new text file. Save the file as mystyle.css. The extension what we give for external CSS file is .css. Save it. Now, here we have to go with only styles. Don't use any tags here like style tag like that. Only styles like this. Just we have to take the HTML element name and provide the styles here. Go with element selector. We can go with ID selector. We can go with class selector. Anything. Right? So we can use element selector, we can use ID selector, class selector, grouping selectors, whatever we want to, we can do. But we should not use any style tag here. Only styles here. Now create one more file. Save the file as external css.html. Now in the body HTML tag, in head section, now we have to link to the external CSS file. How to link to the external CSS file is we have to use the tag link. Link rel equal to style sheet. Link rel equal to style sheet. The type of the file is text/css and the important one href. The reference is what is the name of the file? mystyle.css. So this is the way by using link tag we can refer to the external CSS file. After that, remaining code as usual. Body. So whenever we use body tag, the background color will be pink. H3 we can refer to the ID1. In paragraph we can refer to the class right. So these styles are defined where in mystyle.css. So whatever the code we have written here, that will get included in between this head section under style tag. Automatically that will get included. See, when we open in browser, we get given result here. Clear everyone? The ways of inserting CSS. Any questions?
Sir, link rel is equal to style sheet that is predefined.
Everything is predefined, okay? Whatever we are writing, everything is predefined. These are
Okay,
our
sir.
names. These are our names here. So if something not done by you, so here we have done, right? We have done this one. Who has created? User. But here, did we create anything like style sheet? No. So if you have not created, that means predefined. Simple blind rules. Okay, Kalyani.
Understood. Sir.
Right? So this is predefined or user defined. MyStyle.css.
User.
User. That's it. Okay. Right. So that's about CSS. These are the concepts. Just what you have to learn, the new style names, like we have learned now text align, background color, like that we have to learn new styles and the values of it. Okay, but the concept remains same anywhere. Just to go through this W3 schools, and whenever you get some time, just to browse that styles based on the requirement. Let us move to the next one, XML. This is very important prerequisite before we enter into advanced Java. So for advanced Java, like when we go with servlets or JSP or even frameworks like Hibernate, Spring, every place we use XML. Okay, so we should have a basic idea on XML so that whenever I write XML code in future in Java programming, you should not feel confused what is this XML. So for that reason, I'm discussing XML over here today. What is this XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. XML stands for what? Extensible Markup Language. The main use of going for XML is used to transport the data from one application to another application. So application to application interaction we do by using XML. So whatever the data present in one application, we want to transport it over network to some other application. Both are running in different systems. So for example, whatever the data present in database table, you want to transport over network to other application. But sending database data over network is something complex, like because of huge size, the cost is more. Cost means the time what it takes to transport is more. So what we do, we take the data from database table, we convert into XML format, and we send that XML file over network. So transportation purpose, we use XML. That is one use. And one more use is in Java. In Java, XML is used to create configuration files required for the application. This is the main thing in Java. What we do, we create configuration files. Like when we come to servlets in JSP, we'll be learning one configuration file like web.xml file. When we come to Maven tool, we'll be learning one XML file, pom.xml file. When we come to Hibernate, we learn some XML files. When we come to Spring, we learn some XML files, like that. Depends on the topic, we have to learn it. And coding is simple, just we can understand automatically while typing the code only. What is the meaning of configuration file? Now, what is the difference between HTML and XML? In HTML, all tags are predefined tags. In HTML, all tags are what? Predefined tags. Whereas in XML, all tags are user defined. Whatever the tag we create, they are user defined tags. One more major difference between HTML and XML is HTML is used to present the data, whereas XML is for data about data. Data about data, which we call metadata. HTML is for what? To present it. It's only for presentation, whereas XML is for data about data. Like example, when we use b tag and we'll say 5000/b. When we write this code in HTML, just by seeing the tag b, we can say that 5000 is presented as bold. So we are just worried about the presentation. We are not worried about meaning of 5000 here. What is 5000? We are not worried here. We are worried about only presenting. If we write the tag like this, salary 5000/salary. If you write this one in XML, then by seeing the tag name, we can say that 5000 is what? It's a salary. That's meaning called as data about data. This is data. We are giving meaning of the data here. That's the meaning called as metadata. So 5000 is what? Salary. So we hold the data in the form of tags. By seeing the tag name, we can say what is the meaning of that data. We are providing the meaning of data here, whereas HTML providing presentation. We are specifying the presentation here. HTML is not case sensitive. Means we can use the tags either in uppercase or lowercase, no problem at all. Whereas XML is case sensitive. Whereas XML is case sensitive means if I take tag like salary 5000, then if you say /salary, goes with error here. This is error because here we have taken everything in smaller case, but here we are using S as capital, so goes with what? Error. The HTML is not standard, whereas XML is standard. The meaning of standard is like when we go with HTML, what is the root tag? HTML. But using the root tag HTML is optional. And when we open the tag, closing tags are also optional, like BR tag, HR tag, LA tag, like that. Closing tags are also optional. Okay. And attribute values, when you take attribute values, we need not use double quotes or single quotes, no problem. So it won't follow any strict syntax rules. That's the reason we say not standard, whereas XML is standard. So what are the standard rules need to be followed when you are writing XML file? That's the main thing to discuss over here. That is, when can we say XML is valid? What are the rules we need to remember when you are creating XML file? The rules are like a HTML file should contain only one root tag. HTML file should contain what? Only one root tag. What is root tag? The first tag in XML file is root tag. The first tag what you write, that is your root tag. For every tag, there should be a closing tag or self-enclosing tag. For every tag, there should be what? A closing tag or self-enclosing tag. Like if you take a tag like my tag, we have to close it like this, /my tag. This only we call closing tag. Or you can simply say my tag and say slash. This only we call self-enclosing tag. When we end with slash and greater than this, we say self-enclosing tag. One more rule here. Attribute values should be in either double quotes or single quotes. Like example, if you take a tag property, name equal to salary, should be in double quotes or single quotes, value equal to 5000. So attribute values should be in either double quotes or single quotes. One more rule, no overlapping of tags. No overlapping of tags. Like example, if you take employee salary 5000 slash employee slash salary. So here in this one, which tag is open first? Employee. After that, salary. Then we are taking value. First we are closing employee and salary. So whatever the tag we have opened here, that should get closed first. So this will go with what? Error. That is, and the message is overlapping tags. Because of what reason? Overlapping tags. Right? So these are the rules we have to remember when you are writing XML file. But very simple, nothing to worry too much on this, because we write XML code in Eclipse, and Eclipse only will take care of all these rules. And some of the cases, the XML file is created by your Eclipse tool only automatically. Just based on requirement, we just go to the file and do the changes. Let us understand these all words by going with one example program. We want to maintain a library of books. When you want to maintain a library of books, we'll create a table in database. Then how to manage the same thing in XML. So in the case of database tables, we go with column headings. What are the column headings you are using in database table? That will become tags here. That's a simple correlation. If you don't know, XML is very simple. Let us create, save the file as library.xml. The extension what we give for XML file is .xml. Here we want to go with a library of books. So we'll create a tag here, library. So this is your root tag. Close library. In library, we go with set of books. Just to use the tag, whatever data you want to collect, use the tag. Book number, this will like column names. Number, close your book number. Book name, the value of book name. Price, the value of price. Like that, how many books we want to collect, we can collect here. Just the data will be in the form of tags. That's it. That's a simple difference between database tables and SQL. Sorry, database tables and XML. Now, how to like running? Nothing like running of XML file. It's just to hold the data. So to check whether our code is valid or not, just we have to open this file in browser. So how to open in browser is, here you won't have option to open in browser. So just to go to the folder where we have created the file. This is the file what we have created. So copy this address, open browser and type the paste the address and say just to go to the folder where we have created file and just open this library.xml. If it is showing our XML file as it is on your browser screen, that means our code is valid and it will show like a tree-like fashion. It will show like a tree-like fashion. Now here we are using library complete smaller case. When I'm closing, if I use capital L, then see when we refresh your page, it's going with error. See, opening and ending tag mismatch. If I forgot to close the tag, if I forget to close the tag also, that also will go with error over here. This also goes with error. Okay. Right. So any questions, anyone up to here?
Yeah, sir, is XML like JSON?
Similar to that. But JSON is mainly to hold the data or to go with some property values what we use in Java to hold data. But XML is for configuration files. It's for configuration purpose. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Similar. You can say almost similar. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I'll come to that also. How to go with JSON now. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Don't worry what is JavaScript now. We'll discuss tomorrow. JavaScript Object Notation. What is this JSON is? JSON is lightweight data interchange format. It's also for interchanging the data from one application to other application. JSON is easy to read and write than XML. That's the main difference. JSON is what? It is easy to read and write than XML. JSON is language independent, even of course XML is also language independent. JSON is open standard for exchanging data on the web. When you want to exchange data from one application to other application on web, we can make use of JSON, similar to XML. In JSON, data is represented in key value pairs. Enclosed in between curly braces. Okay, let me elaborate with the program. Let me take same library of data. The extension what we give is JSON. Here, how to go with JSON code is we have to use curly braces here. Instead of tags, we go with curly braces. Then go with the data like books. You want to go with some collection of books. So when you want to collect some collection of data, we have to use square brackets. Again, curly braces, book number, colon, the value of book number. So in the case of JSON, the data will be in which format? Key value pair. So more readable and easy to write. Book number, colon, the value of it. Then say comma, book name, the value of book name, comma, price, the value of price, like this. It will be in which format? Key value pairs. So this is the way of JSON looks here. You can go with some more data. Just to change the values. Right. So this is the way how JSON file looks. Nothing like running. Just we have to open in the browser to check whether your code is valid or not. Just to show the same file as it is on our browser. So we'll be discussing more on this. We'll be keep on using this XML JSON in future also. But when I refer to these terms, you should not feel confused what these are. That's the main objective of discussing these two topics as a basic introduction today. Clear everyone? Any questions? Right? Then tomorrow we'll be going with one more new topic, an interesting one, more of programming, where we are going to discuss JavaScript. And from day after tomorrow, we'll enter back to Java, where I'm going to start up with servlets. Very, very important. Thank you all.